Good afternoon. I am David Albertson, Editorial Director of Source Media's Employee Benefits Group, which comprises our two magazines, Employee Benefit News and Employee Benefit Advisor. Welcome to the 22nd Annual Benefits Forum and Expo and the co-located 4th Annual Employee Benefit Advisor Summit.
Hi, I'm Kelly Butler. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Employee Benefit News. We've got lots of exciting new sessions in store for you at this year's event. We have 7 tracks in the conference program for the Benefits Forum and 4 tracks in the Employee Benefit Advisor Summit. That's the largest variety of conference sessions we've had at either event. There's a great lineup of more than 130 of the nation's foremost experts in the field of employee benefits. I haven't counted them all, but that's what they tell me. So there's plenty of top-notch information sharing and something for everyone here over the next 3 days.
Just have a few things to go over with you about what's in store for you tonight. Immediately following the keynote, we're going to have a brief book signing. The bestseller Total Money Makeover. It's written by this afternoon's keynoter, Dave Ramsey. The book helps debunk myths about money and illusions of the American dream, which Dave says encourages overspending and massive amounts of debt. Just a word of caution about anyone who hopes to receive their complimentary signed book tonight. We do have a limited number of books available, and Dave will only be signing the book until the exhibit hall opens at 6 p.m.
There will also be a book signing by one of our own benefits editorial staff, Leah Carlson-Shepard, and her co-author, Robert Arnoff, president of Arnoff and Associates. The 3 R's of benefits can be purchased for a special benefits form discounted price of $14.95. You can make your checks payable to Kelly Butler. Both book signings are taking place outside the Grand Ballroom, just outside these doors, at the completion of the keynote.
Following the book signing at 6 o'clock will be the grand opening of this year's Benefits Forum and Expo. Enjoy some cocktails and hors d'oeuvres throughout the evening until 7:30 tonight. Tonight's welcome reception is sponsored by Delta Dental and Consumer Health Technologies. You'll find plenty of new benefit solutions that will help streamline your business and improve employee benefit satisfaction with increased profitability at many of the wonderful exhibitions we have down there for you this year. So we encourage you, please do stop by and visit them. They help make the whole show go around, and we're very appreciative of having them here. You can also check out the new Benefits Twitter board. You can tweet with hashtag Benefits09.
There are a variety of sponsors that have helped so much in making this year's event possible. In addition to congratulating them on how well they seem to have survived the recession, I'd like to thank our platinum sponsors, Aetna, Vivia Health, Cigna, and VSP Vision Care.
Thanks also to our gold sponsors, Ameriflex, iMed Vision Care, Free and Clear, and Humana.
And we'd also like to thank our silver sponsors, Consumer Health Technologies, Delta Dental, HRXL, Nightingale, Prepaid Legal Services, and Quest Diagnostics. You'll have a chance to meet these sponsors along with the more than 100 exhibitors starting at 6 o'clock tonight.
You may have already noticed several people running around dressed in Jamaican tropical shirts. These are members of our Benefits Bingo team. They're celebrating the opportunity everyone has this year. This is the chance to win a trip for 2 to Jamaica, where you'll stay at the Half Moon Resort for 4 days and 3 nights, plus receive $1,000 toward your airfare to Jamaica. It's a wonderful vacation trip that one lucky winner can enjoy. A special exhibit hall drawing will be made from the Benefits Bingo cards of stamps received at the exhibitions. You have to be present at the drawing to win, so good luck with that.
We'd like to touch briefly on what's going to be happening tomorrow. Things are getting started early, and I mean really early, with a free clear Pilates class and breakfast at 6:30 a.m. Breakfast also is being served in the exhibition hall at 7:30 for those who would like that extra hour of sleep.
Tomorrow's keynote speaker is former U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Michael Levitt. Will bring us an insider's view on both governmental and private sector changes necessary to reform our national healthcare system. He speaks tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Tomorrow afternoon, Humana will host an industry innovation lunch in room 302. Lunch will also be served in the exhibit hall starting at 11:30 a.m.
Tomorrow night, we've put together a fantastic and very fun networking reception at the Georgia Aquarium, where more than 8 million gallons of fresh and marine water are home to more aquatic life than in any other aquarium in the world. You've got to see it to believe it. If you've purchased a full conference pass, your ticket is attached to your badge. You must provide this ticket to gain access to the party tomorrow night. No ticket, no entrance, no exceptions. For those of you who would like to attend the reception, there are a few tickets still available. Tickets to the aquarium party may be purchased at the registration desk, and tours of the aquarium will begin tomorrow night at 6:30, and the party runs until 10 p.m. with food by Wolfgang Puck Catering, an open bar, and plenty of high-level networking. All that delicious food and good cheer, and you'll definitely want to take advantage of some of the more healthy opportunities, such as the health blood screenings that Quest Diagnostics will be offering periodically tonight, tomorrow, and again on Tuesday.
I guess there's some fasting involved with that, is that right?
There is, so you may, if you're going to be doing that on Tuesday, you may want to, stop participating in the bar for some reason.
Plan ahead. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. You know him as a personal money management expert, an extremely popular national radio personality, and a TV host on Fox Television. Dave Ramsey is a true rags to riches story. By age 26, he had established a $4 million real estate portfolio, only to lose it by age 30. He has since rebuilt his financial life and now devotes himself full-time to helping ordinary people understand the forces behind their financial distress and how to set things right, financially, emotionally, and spiritually. Something that you, as benefits professionals, do every day for thousands of company employees across the U.S. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do bring on Dave Ramsey onto the stage, just one last opportunity to thank everyone for attending Benefits Forum and Expo and Benefit Advisor Summit 2009. I hope you'll enjoy the welcoming lineup we've put together tonight and that it fills your heart with inspiration.
It's okay to clap.
Benefits Forum and Expo and Benefits Advisor Summit Atlanta style. With special thanks to the award-winning Atlanta West Pentecostal Church's fabulous music ministry. Appreciate them joining us this afternoon. We hope that caught you at least a little bit of an element surprise, and like we say, add a little Atlanta flavor to the whole festivities. We're really looking forward to this event, having everybody here with us. And as the choir files off, we have already introduced this afternoon's keynote speaker. So Brother Dave Ramsey, I think we're ready for you.
Just in case you thought this was for a boring thing for a bunch of corporate geeks, now you are not confused anymore. Give them another round of applause. Weren't they awesome? I was peeking out from back there and I was watching. Some of you were enjoying this and some of you were working really, really hard at not enjoying it. Trying to clap on the key. It's pitiful. Just pitiful. It's just awful. Well, I hope you guys are planning on having a good time this week and learning your craft, continuing to hone and to polish and to do the things that you go back to the office and do, whether you're here as a vendor or whether you're here as a participant. 22 years you've been doing this. Anybody been here for all 22 or been here since it began 22 years ago? A couple of you? Just the guys on the front row. It's pretty scary, you guys. That's a long time. I'm getting to that age, though, where I've got folks working for me that I have socks older than them, so I'm trying to reach that point. There was a rumor I was going to have like a music stand or something up here. You think we could work that out, possibly? So I don't have to wander back and forth. I can do it. I'll pull it off, but it's okay. Let me ask y'all something while they're working on that. How many of you have ever done something stupid? Some of you are a little too enthusiastic with that, yeah. How many of you that didn't raise your hand have a problem with lying? And we've all done stupid stuff. And we've all done stupid stuff with money. My story, of course, most of you, if you've run into us or our materials anywhere before, you've probably heard the story, and I won't spend a lot of time talking about it, but my story was that I started from nothing. I grew up in Antioch, Tennessee, and I started buying and selling real estate, and I got rich by the time I was 26 years old. I had about $4 million worth of real estate. I did stupid stuff and borrowed too much money, and a little ripple came through the economy like has happened recently. And turns out flip this house was not a plan even back then. And we had a bunch of real estate we were fixing up and flipping, and the bank called our notes, and we spent the next 2.5 years of our life losing everything we owned. We were sued, we were foreclosed on, and finally with a brand new baby, a toddler, and a marriage hanging on by a thread, I was bankrupt, and I had to start completely over 20 years ago at about 28 years old. So we hit bottom. I was being interviewed the other day on one of these talking head shows. I do stuff like Good Morning America and Larry King and Fox and Friends every week, and jump in and out of those shows and do the little 3-minute things, box in a box guy, you know, the ones they put on, one of those box in a box guys. And one of those talking head guys goes, "So Dave, how did you bounce back?" I was like, "Dude, I lost $4 million. When you fall that far, you really don't bounce. It's more of a splat." And I sat around at the bottom of that mess and whined and blamed everybody else for my stupidity. You ever do something stupid and then blame somebody else for your stupidity? And turns out McDonald's does serve hot coffee. We've got a mentality in our culture today where we do that, me included. And you know, if you don't watch it, then I blame the banks, I blame my wife, I blame my parents, I blamed everybody, and then finally I start figuring out it was my fault. And out of that pain and suffering and struggle and fear and insecurity, after having all these letters and licenses after my name that says I'm supposed to know something about money, out of that I started helping other people who were scared and beat up, which turns out is like a lot of people, like most people, when it comes to the subject of money. And we started our little business, and I was doing one-on-one counseling and doing a little bit of speaking, and I wrote a little book, and we were going along, and I really didn't want employees. Because I've been around, you know, corporate America, and I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, but if I do, that's okay. But I didn't really want employees, because I've seen the way some employees are. I mean, to me, an employee is someone who comes late, leaves early, and steals while they're there. You know? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Is it okay to be real? I hope so, because if not, you're in deep stuff. I didn't want employees, and I look up nowadays, and we run a little small company. Some of you work for big people and all that, but I'm just a little guy. But I'm up to, these days, we've been running our little business for about 17 years, and there's about 300 of us working together now doing this. And I don't have a single employee. Not one. I have team members. And that's not just a phrase. It's a mentality, and it's a culture element inside of who we are. Because I figured out, you know, you have to manage employees. You can lead a team. And so what you do is absolutely vital inside of our organization. We're a little company, but what you do, being good to your team, pouring blessings on your team, loving your people well is the way we say it around our place, is an absolute, it's one of the highest callings, I think, in possibly in corporate America. So I'm really honored to be with you today. And I got to tell you up front, I'm nowhere near as sophisticated as you guys about benefits. I don't know all the things you know. You know more in your little finger than I do, especially you've been hanging around here 22 years, than I'll ever learn. And so I am far from here to tell you what to do, to tell you how to do things. I would never purport to do that, but I got a couple of ideas and things I kind of want to just share with you for just a second. Because I'm a CEO of our company too. I'm a product, but I'm also the CEO. And so I meet with our executive vice presidents, I meet with our vice presidents, I meet with all these guys, and I see how much I spend to be nice to the people on my team. And we do some weird stuff at our place. Like, I know as a financial guy, as a financial counselor, I've met with a lot of widows, and I've met with a lot of people whose spouses died and their families passed away and that kind of thing. So I think a will is a really big deal. And since I endorse a company that provides wills online, we got them to give them to my team for free. So it's a really cheap benefit for me, and it's an important benefit. And so I like the fact that it's cheap and important, and I can do it. I like both of those together as the CEO. The return on investment is like freaking infinite since I didn't pay for it, okay? And so, but it's amazing to me as I look at it, and I've got a young crew, man. Our average age is about 27 years old. You come visit us, it's like flip-flops and t-shirts everywhere. You know, it's like going into a .com or something. They're really, really smart, but they look weird. And so, oh, there it is, it appeared. Thank you. Snuck in behind me. Whoever did that was good. Very sneaky. And so our little team, one of the things that's aggravated me, for instance, about that will is I get up about 4 or 5, 6 times a year in staff meeting and go, don't you people get a freaking will? It's free and you don't have it. You're gonna die, leave a mess behind, then I'm gonna dig you up and kill you again. Because you're gonna embarrass me when you die without a will. Get a will. It's paid for, I paid for it, shut up. Why don't they do it? Worse than that, if I pay for something to furnish them this wonderful thingy that I think they need to have, you'd call that a benefit, I called it a thingy. But if I'm doing that, then why the flip don't they do it? I just wrote a $100,000 check for you people, and you're not participating. I don't get it. And what I figured out is, I'm an old salesman, that benefits or thingies are really only as effective with my team as they are valued by my team. I'll give you a weird one. We also endorse an identity theft protection company. One of the people I endorse on my nationally syndicated talk radio show. Consequently, I went to them and I said, guys, I want my family on this. Matter of fact, why don't you just furnish it to the whole team? So they did. I had to pay a little bit, but not much. So we furnished an identity theft protection thing. Now, this is the internet age of kids that are working for me. These are the 27-year-olds. They think that's awesome. All of them took that, and not all of them took the will. What's wrong with this? Because in that age group, with that psychographic and that demographic, the identity theft protection thing in the internet world was a huge deal to them. They latched onto it, sucked it in like little sponges, because they valued it. So again, I'm not sophisticated about this. I'm just a guy that says, I'm writing checks for my little team. Sometimes they do the stuff and sometimes they don't do the stuff. I can't pound them into doing some of it. I can't talk them into it. I can't have enough programs or processes to get them to do it, and it's bothering me. So the title of my talk is supposed to be about surviving economic times, helping your team, helping your employees survive economic times. I can think of about 3 things that causes people to be able to survive troubled economic times? One of them is consistency. On my way over here, I was going down the interstate, and I looked off in the distance, and there was a plume of smoke coming up. And a true story, just a few minutes ago, and as I got past that, got near that plume of smoke, here came 3 fire trucks beside me, which meant this is not good. I'm going to be late for the little benefits thingy I'm doing. This is not good, because they're getting ready to block off the whole stinking highway. I can just feel it. And can we get off at the exit, please, quickly? But I got up beside it, and it was a little blue, a brand new looking little blue Volkswagen, totally engulfed in flames. And the first thought when you see something like that is, gosh, I hope they got out, right? And you just say a little prayer quickly and go, gosh, we'll look over those people, because who it was. And I look up, and there's 2 little teenage girls standing about 100 yards away by another car, and I'm guessing that was probably the drivers. How do you catch a Volkswagen on fire? I don't know, there's another mystery to man, but somehow these 2 girls figured out a way to do it a while ago. But you can't put out a building that's on fire with a fire extinguisher. Once it's fully engulfed in flames, that won't do it anymore. And so, how do you help people during troubled economic times? I'm sorry, but we lied to you with the title of the keynote. You can't, it's too late. They had to be ready before they hit, didn't it? They had to have their house in order. Now, can you help them with some little things? Yes. But, can you solve everyone's financial trouble that was set up by 5 years of negative behaviors because this thing came along and wiped out the illusion that everything was okay? You can't do it. It's like, not having an umbrella when it starts to rain. It's too late, you're going to get wet. There's only one thing worse than not having an umbrella when it starts to rain. It's not having an umbrella when it starts to rain and you're bald. Because there's nothing to catch it. It just runs, it's bad. You people with hair, you don't know how good. My son's he used to have hair that would flip out like a little hat. It was great for that. But no, I told him, keep that up. It'll look like this someday. You better cut it. You can keep it under control. But, you can't do it. You can't, it's too late then. You got to be consistent up through the time before you get there. In other words, it's like Warren Buffett says. He says, when the tide goes out, you can tell who was skinny dipping. It's too late then. Who was goofing off, who had too much debt. And they call me on my radio show. If you're here in your city, we're in 450 cities, there's a probable cause that we're in your city, reasonable probability. And they call me on the show, and they're like, Dave, I have 2 cars leased. I've got a student loan that's been around so long, I think it's a pet. MasterCard is master of my life, and I have discovered bondage at American Distress, and I have payments going out everywhere. And then Joe got laid off the other day. What am I going to do? And she's crying on the phone, and I got to try to help her then. And I got to start chopping stuff out of her life quickly so she can try to get her equilibrium. And that's kind of when they come into your office. In troubled economic times, how do we help our team members? I think we help them by helping them with the immediate need, but we also got to really kind of use that as saying, this is the time that your stupidity was exposed. Now, you wouldn't want to be that blunt. I'm on talk radio, I can get away with that, but you could be that blunt, then it would probably be okay. It wouldn't be politically correct, but it'd be okay to just look at them and go, what that? Have a Dr. Laura moment with them. Stop it! And push back on that thing. So consistency of doing the right thing, a whole set of positive habits is one thing we can do to teach them so that they're better able, or that teach me or teach you that we can be better able to be ready when something like that happens. Second thing is control. There's a sense of being out of control with money. I often ask large audiences. I was in Detroit the other day speaking for about 6,000 folks, and I asked a large audience, how many of you have ever made a mistake with money? And of course, everybody's hand goes up. And I said, well, that just makes you over 12. Everyone's made mistakes with money, including the guy teaching this stuff. I've made mistakes while I'm teaching this stuff. Everybody has. None of us got it figured out perfectly, and none of us have a perfect set of habits. But there are some basic things you can do to get in control. And one of the things you can do with your folks is help them get back to basics. Teach them some really basic stuff that nobody does except the people that are winning with money, which is only about 5% of the public. Basic stuff. Here's a plan. If you worked for a company called You Incorporated, this is some conversation you could have with a team member as an example. If you work for a company called You Incorporated and you were to manage money for You Incorporated, the way you manage money for you now, would you fire you? Don't answer that. Most people don't have a game plan at all. I meet people who have P&L responsibility for multiple millions of dollars inside their company and don't do a written budget at home. The cobbler's kids have no shoes. Oh, you don't need a written budget. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. If you want to win with money, you've got to tell your money what to do or it will leave and go to someone else and you'll gripe about it. You have to tell your money what to do. You have to make it behave. And the budget is the whip in the chair, where you become the money tamer. And every dollar has a name, on paper, on purpose, before the month begins. Every single dollar is allocated for. We're going to make this money behave. That way they don't get to, or you don't get to, or I don't get to the end of the tax year, and we sit down in April and we do our taxes and we go, look at that. We made 40,000, we made 50,000, we made 140,000, we made 80,000. Would somebody please tell me where it went? We've all had that moment where we go, I could have had a V8. Where'd it go? And we don't need to have those bullets. The weird thing is, when I put people on a budget as a financial counselor, whether they're in crisis or whether they're doing okay, the majority of our clients are doing okay. They just have this sense that they're stuck in a wheel. Run, get nowhere, have a heart attack, die. And they're sick of that. All the money comes in, all the money goes out, only the names are changed to protect the innocent. That's who comes to us to read these books and go to our live events and listen to me on the radio. It's not just broke people. Yes, the broke people call in, and it's really sad, and those are part of the deal. But most of these folks, it's just all the money is out of control. And when I simply make them write it down every month before the month begins, and this is not rocket science, on paper, on purpose, before the month begins, and agree on it with your spouse, pinky swear and spit shake, we're going to stick to this. Not going to spend any money except what's here. I get hundreds and hundreds of emails a month, thousands of letters a year, lots of phone calls on the radio show and other places. When I'm doing a book signing, I often get people come up to me. I talked to some folks backstage a while ago, told me the exact same thing. I ran into some people backstage, said, we did your program, we paid off $50,000 in debt. And they wanted me to high five them, and of course I did. How cool is that? $50,000, that's awesome. That's pretty incredible. These letters that come in, these emails that come in, you know what they always say? Dave, when I got on a budget, I felt like I got a raise. Now, I'm at a benefits conference. That's your cue to go, When I got a plan for my money and my money started behaving, it felt like a money stretcher. I felt like I got a raise. I mean, really, if that doesn't give you pause in your industry, then you're not listening real careful, or you've got some kind of weird shield up that you just need to chill and put down for a minute. Because that really is a big deal. And I didn't know that when I started teaching people to do budgeting years ago. I just knew they needed to have a written plan, because nobody wins without a written plan. It's basically goal setting for your money this month. So here we are at the 1st of October coming up any minute, and so you need to spend all of October's money on paper, on purpose, before the month begins, and agree on it with your spouse if you're married. If you're single, you've already agreed with you, shut up and do it. Now you got to stick to it. You got to stick to it. That's your baseline by which you operate your life. Is it going to run perfectly? Crud, no. You're not going to get it the first month. You have 17 emergency budget committee meetings in the first month alone. Come back together and go, what are we doing? But you've got to begin to get control of your money. The second thing causes people to get control of their money is they learn to save money for a little bit. Finally set some money aside. I'm amazed the number of people who make $50,000 a year and don't have 2 nickels to rub together. They make money, but it all seems to go in and it all seems to go out, just like we said earlier, and they have no sense of ownership of their income, because it all flows from who they work for to who they owe. And they have no sense of money. I have met people with $50,000, making $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year, who come up to me in a book signing line because I tell them our first step is to save $1,000. I want you to save a little starter emergency fund. We call that baby step 1 around our place. I want you to get you 10 Uncle Benjamin Franklin's now and set those aside, and that's your starter emergency fund. Don't do anything else until you at least get that. That's step 1. And people come up to me with tears in their eyes. And I'm going, that's weird. This is the first time I've ever had like a whole $1,000. And I'm looking at him going, that's lame. I'm going, that's nice. I lied, but I'm nice. But don't you think that? But I've really got $1,000, Dave, and I feel like I've got traction. I feel like I've got a plan. They're empowered. There's a process they're plugging into that's causing them to win. So we teach them to save first for emergencies. Then we teach them to save up and pay cash for things instead of going into debt. Pay cash for stuff. An interesting thing, when you pay cash, a couple of things happens. One is, if you get Uncle Benjamin Franklin like this in your pocket for a little while, see, I got y'all's attention now. Guys on the front row are hoping I'm giving out samples. I'm not. Just clarify real quick. But if you get Uncle Benjamin Franklin like this and you carry him around in your pocket for a little while, he becomes part of the family, doesn't he? It's like, Ben. And then you're in Best Buy going, Ben. I mean, then you're not spending money. It's an emotional experience. You're putting a family member out for adoption. Try spending cash. All the studies tell us you will spend anywhere from 6 to 47% less, depending on the setting and the venue. Fast food is 47% more when you pay with cash, or 47% less when you pay with cash versus plastic. So when you pay cash, you tend to spend less because it hurts. Carnegie Mellon magazine did a whole outlay of a study done at MIT where they actually studied areas of the brain with an MRI that are pain centers in the brain, and they were activated when people spent cash and they weren't activated when they used plastic. It's very real. When you spend with cash, you spend less because it hurts. The second thing is you can get a deal this way, right? I mean, if you go in there and have a little fun with this. I mean, sometimes I go in Best Buy and just walk around. You know, you'll get waited on, won't you? Only when you pay for it, it's kind of a weird experience because the kid at the register is like, well, dude, get the manager. This one's got like real money. I don't have to ring it up. But you go in there and have some fun with them and go, hey, Mr. Manager, I want a bargain. Flat screen. Mr. Ramsey, we don't negotiate. This is a retail establishment. Are you sure? Look deeply into my eyes. My wife won't go with me. She says, you embarrass me. That's just a side benefit. Don't you ever discount? Well, sometimes we open a box, so open a box, dude. Have some fun with it. You spend less. We teach people to spend with real money. But you can get some bargains occasionally. Sometimes you can. Sometimes they just look at you like you're a Fruit Loop, which is fine. At least I'm not a broke Fruit Loop anymore. So now I've got money. So we teach people to save money. We teach them to invest. Oh, yeah, there's one. Like the 401k. Wow, what a concept. We teach them to get out of debt, because then they've got money to save and to invest. And these are the elements of control. Simple things. If you don't have any payments, you've got money to save and invest. The only way you're going to do that's with a plan. You have to live on less than you make. You're not in Congress. You have to balance your freaking budget, you know? And that's real life. And these are conversations we have with real people with master's degrees come into our offices. These aren't dumb people that are struggling with money. It's everyone. Wall Street Journal says 70% of the American public is living paycheck to paycheck right now. And that's not because of the recession and underemployment. It's because of over-freaking spending. That's what it comes down to. And these are real elements that your folks are really facing every single day. It's that element of control. So consistency and control, confidence. You know, there's a tremendous amount of guilt and shame over money. Because it seems like with money, everybody else has got their act together, but me. I'm the only dumb one. Because you can't see all of their stuff. You know, if somebody's got other issues going on, sometimes it's visual. You can actually observe that they've got that issue going on and you go, well, bless their heart. Which in the South can mean anything. If my wife says, bless your heart, then dodge, because she's probably about to shoot you. So, or cut your throat while you're asleep. I don't know which. But bless your heart is not a good thing always. So, anyway, we can observe some things, and with other people, when it's a financial thing, we can't observe it. So we just assume that everybody else has got it together better than we do. And there's a tremendous amount of shame and guilt around this subject by people you would never think. And it was amazing to me when I first started doing financial counseling, the people I met that looked like they had everything together were some of the brokest. Like I started doing financial counseling at my church at first as a little ministry there. And I remember doing, you know, I would go in on Tuesday night or whatever and help somebody that was in foreclosure and help somebody that was about to be repoed on their car or whatever. And I remember the night that Ken and Barbie came in for counseling. You know who Ken and Barbie is? They're the couple that looks like everything's perfect. I mean, they're perfect. They look like Ken and Barbie. They're beautiful people. They're tall. They have hair. They're everything, you know? Right? And they've got the nice cars and they live in the nice place and their kids are perfect and everything's perfect about them. And then I looked at how broke they were and I was amazed. It was a facade. And now 20 years later of doing financial counseling, I'm no longer amazed at ever as to who's broke. It doesn't take me off guard ever anymore. But I remember going home and telling my wife, did you know Ken and Barbie are broke? Because now, the thing about it was it made me feel like I wasn't quite so dumb because Ken and Barbie were broke too. Maybe if we crashed, we can survive if they were too. And so giving people permission and to begin to get a sense of confidence. And the weird thing is when they do that budget, when they're on a plan, when they're in agreement with their spouse, the ones that are married, and when the single person has a game plan and they're sticking to it, that gives them a sense of confidence, a sense of control, and gives them the ability to have consistency. And then when there are economic times, when the winds howl and the rains come, then you're ready. When this all hit, any of you remember last fall when the news media was in full-blown hysteria? Anybody in here? Is this thing on? Do y'all remember kind of feeling a little bit afraid at some point that the whole thing was going to melt down? Anybody but me? Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like a distant memory now. It was a whole 9 months ago. Or it was almost a year ago now, I guess, sneaking up on there. Wow. And I remember watching people that I know on Fox Business and Fox that are friends of mine that I thought were fairly stable individuals. Their octaves and their voice had gone up 3. They're like a beagle chasing a rabbit. It was like, it was bad. I mean, you could sense the fear. It was on their face. Their voice had changed. And they're having me on for an interview, and I'm really calm. They're going, Dave, why are you so calm? The world is coming to an end. Don't you know? And I'm going, these aren't people who, I know them well enough. They're not just hyping. They were freaking. If you didn't know them, you might think they were just hyping people up. And I kept going, remain calm, remain calm. And I felt like a spectator in the middle of that. And it took me several months to realize why I felt like a spectator. Well, there was several reasons. One is, I think, my personal faith. But aside from that, I felt like a spectator because I was ready for the storm. I had shelter. My home is paid for, and I've done detailed research. 100% of the foreclosures occur on homes with a mortgage. So my home was foreclosure proof. I had money in an emergency fund in a safe bank, one of the big stupid ones, and I had money in investments that went down. But I'm only 48. Now I'm 49. I've got time, and I know enough about investing to know to leave it alone. Don't get out at exactly the wrong time. If you do your investments based on emotions, you're going to be broke your whole life because you will buy high and sell low. Katie Couric does not need to time the market for you. It's not a plan. You will lose your tail end doing that stuff. And so I knew those things, and I felt strangely separated from all the fear. To the point I thought, I wonder if I'm stupid. I wonder if I'm missing something. Because all these smart people are freaking out. And I'm looking at them going, I think we're going to be okay, guys. Well, you're the only one saying that. Why are you saying that? I just think we're going to be okay. Breathe. And now it turns out we're going to be okay. I mean, we tried to bail out stupidity, then we tried to stimulate it, but aside from the government stuff, aside from the two-party system that's just anyway, aside from all that, we seem to be like we're just going to muddle through, we Americans, on our own here in a free market economy. It's an amazing thing. So we're going to be okay. But because I was ready for the storm, I was able to step back and feel like a spectator. So in the last few minutes I've got with you, let me give you a couple things that if I were a CEO in a bigger deal than I am, and I'm not that sophisticated, I've already discounted all of that, I'm just a regular guy. Our little company wins Best Place to Work every year in a company our size in Nashville, where I'm from. And it's very, very hard to get on with our team. We interview you into oblivion because we really don't want anybody that's a jerk or crazy on our team because we don't have any of those, and we don't want to mess up the place with you if you're one of those. So we don't. And we even interview your spouse because if they're crazy, we don't want you either. Because you can't work if your spouse is crazy. We figured that out years ago. It just does something. So I know I'm weird, but it's in the middle of that, what are some things you might do from a little guy like me if I could give you a little bit of insight and through the lens of the financial counselor? I think challenge number one, if you wanted to write something down, you could. These 3 things might be the things. Challenge number 1 is be very careful with benefits for them not to become a financial thing that sounds like you're from a foreign country. Put the stuff on a bottom shelf where everybody can reach it. I don't even use the word financial I use the word money. Financial sounds intimidating. Most people are freaked out. How many of you have ever been to a country where you didn't speak the language? Do you ever find yourself just grinning and nodding? You have no idea. You just sold your car and 3 of your kids. You have no idea what you're saying. You just want to be happy and be nice in the middle of something you have no idea. That's how people sign up for their 401k sometimes. They have no idea what they're doing. Why'd you pick that option? Guy in the cubicle next to me, he helped me. That's a rocket science idea right there. No, thank you. Because we're speaking a language sometimes, those of us in the world of finance, and I'm academically trained in that world, so I can, say, have a well-diversified portfolio. Make sure you have some liquidity. And they're going, I have no idea. And it can be the guy grinning and like that may have a PhD in something else. I'm not saying they're dumb. They just don't know our little world. So be careful with your vernacular to put the cookies on a shelf where everyone can reach them. Then they'll value what you and I do, take a hold of it, and be blessed by your hard work, because that's why you do what you do, to help them. They can't be helped if they don't plug into the things that we bring to them. But they gotta understand them, they gotta grasp it. And so keep the cookies. I learned this the hard way. I wrote a little book years ago called Financial Peace. And I self-published it because nobody would talk to me about it because I hadn't ever done anything except go broke. And so They Went Broke has a book called Financial Peace. This is weird, we don't need him. And so no publishers would talk to me. So I just sat in my living room and typed it in the middle of the night, and then I printed it off of a laser printer and took it down to my local print shop, and I paid a lady $250 to do the graphics, and she did the graphics. This is the book. I got ripped off. $250 was too much for that design. And I printed these little things up. And when I got the pages all done and I realized how thick it was, it looked more like a pamphlet than a book, and so I figured I couldn't charge more than $1 for it, so I went back and I re-typeset the whole thing at a bigger font size. I'm just being honest with you, okay? I'm just being transparent. And the weirdest thing happened. I had my little books at the back table after I had spoken at a little thing, and this lady came up. And nobody wanted the book, everybody was just kind of standing around. She came up and she picked up the book and she saw the larger font size, 14 point. And she, never having read a word, opened it up, saw the larger font size and went, wow, finally a financial book I can understand. That's where you go, And I went, we cannot speak financial around here ever again. We've got to talk about money in people's lives. It's got to be accessible. So put the cookies on a shelf where they can reach. That's one thing I would ask you to commit to do. Microsoft is working on this right now. They've got a whole program out for their new Microsoft stores that they're opening, and they have a character that they utilize to test market everything with and to run their ideas against, to baseline their ideas against. The character's name is Emily. And Emily is, according to Microsoft, is a younger version of your mom. Okay, who, in other words, might not be totally computer literate. And so they run this paradigm, they run all their decision making, store design, how the person's going to walk up and talk to the customer and they walk in, they run it all through the grid, the paradigm of Emily. And how would a younger version of your mom, in other words, a person who's not computer literate, be able to come in and interact with our product lines and our people not speak geek? And thus our sales will go up. In other words, I think the point of the Apple ads has kind of gotten to them, is what it sounds like, PC versus. So Microsoft is being very careful with that. That's what we've been doing for years. We want Joe and Susie public to be able to access the information that will change their life, that will revolutionize their retirement, that will cause them to be able to change their family tree, to get control, and when the next time the wind blows, they can stand back and go, man, not only did I have an umbrella, but I had a whole storm shelter. And I was a spectator when that happened. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to commit to try to connect the products that you and I know about, and you know more about them than I do. Connect them to the heart. Quit trying to connect them to the head. Connect them to the heart. I have learned that personal finance, after 20 years of doing this, millions of books sold, millions of people through our live events, millions of people through our classes, And we have learned for sure that personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. The problem with my money is this idiot in my mirror. If I can get the guy in the mirror to behave, he can be skinny and rich. But he's got issues. It's a behavior issue. And so because it's a behavior issue, you have to connect it to the heart. From an old sales dog who sold real estate most of my life and been around that business and grew up in sales training, we were taught back then to not sell the product, but sell what it does. At 18 years old, I got my real estate license, and the sales trainer taught me. I had gone in and shown this house to these people, and they wouldn't buy it. And I went back in, and I managed to sell the lady the kitchen, and it turned out there was a house attached. Because she could visualize after I painted a verbal picture, poorly probably at 18, but I still attempted to paint a verbal picture of dinner parties in this kitchen. And your friends will be sitting here while you cook and while you have some cheese and hors d'oeuvres here. And she started to see that, and the husband went, oh God, I'm about to buy a house. we sold the benefits, not the houses. What does it do? So your 401k are just some confusing letters and words. And worse than that, it could be attached to a mutual fund. Oh God, now I'm overwhelmed. And if we can get past that and teach the basics to where they can connect to that, none of that matters. What matters though is, if you'll invest the equivalent of a car payment, which the average car payment in North America today is $478 over 84 months according to the National Auto Dealers Association. If you were to invest $484 from age 30 to age 65, not counting, or from age 30 to age 70, not counting the company match, average rate of return of the mutual funds in the stock markets during the last 60 years would yield you, not a car payment, but if you'll just invest that car payment, you'll have $5.6 million. Shut up. I mean, what if I'm half wrong? You're still okay. But right now, all you're doing is giving it all to General Motors or Toyota Credit instead of doing the 401k. And think about what would, and really even $5.6 million or $2 million or $3 million of retirement doesn't matter, does it? What it does is what matters. You can retire with dignity and not have to count on social insecurity. I'm going to work my whole life and hope the government, which is well known for its ability to handle money, will take care of me. Dumb plan. Dumb plan. We've noticed that those people can't add. They're a train headed for the side of a building up there, man. You gotta take care of you. So what I'm talking about here is not 401ks and not mutual funds and not $478 from age 30 to age 70 becomes 5.6 million or 3 million or 2 million or whatever number you want to use. What I'm talking about here is you changed your family tree and you guaranteed you retire with dignity and you get to take that world cruise you've always wanted to take. And if you're gonna work this stinking hard, you ought to have something to show for it. Now let's attach this stuff to the heart. When you do that, then the 401k goes, okay, maybe it does work. And look, we match. That's like 100% return on your money before you start. You can't mess that up. No fool can screw this up, you know? Wow. And you can begin to show the mathematics, but even the mathematics don't matter. It's where it takes you. I've got a video clip of a guy that we call the classic millionaire. His name's Jim, and he worked for a big corporation his whole life, and he never made over $54,000 in a single year in his life, and he saved every single month. He worked for one company for 30 years, and he saved every single month in his 401k. And he retired with $6 million. And he's about as country fried as you can get. Perfect video clip. You ought to have it on your website in the HR section. Because the way everybody reads that, they go, Jim's up there, and he said, I just saved my money. I'm just so rich, I don't know what to do with all of it. And everybody's going, boy, do I feel stupid right now for not having done what Jim did. Maybe I need to sign up. I mean, you know, you gotta attach it to the heart, right? There's a way to do this stuff. If you have a benefit that's life insurance, if you've been doing this a long time like I have, you've probably run into some folks who had somebody die. We had one of our 32-year-old guys' wife get head on and killed her a couple years ago. Just broke our hearts. Baby. We all just cried with him. It was so sad. And they had the life insurance in place, and they had the will, and they had all the stuff. Everything was in order. And as sad as that is, I'm like some insurance salesman using that story over and over and over again to say, this is important. We're grad's life is going on. The kids that are remaining have their college paid for automatically. Everything's done. This is what life insurance does. It's not a concept. It's not a dry, crackly, broken, dried up benefit that bores you to death that you're supposed to yawn when you're hearing about it. It changed those kids' lives when their mama got killed. That's what we do. This stuff matters. It's what you do. In other words, they don't really care about what you do. They care about why you do it. So, put them on the bottom shelf. Put it right there where the heart can attach to it. That's the second thing. The third thing is be sure and help them lay a foundation for success. Lay a solid foundation for success. And that means you've got to go at this thing with a holistic approach. That's what we do in financial planning. No, I just want to do life insurance only because my mom died of cancer as a kid. Yeah, well, you can do that, but the problem is that'll only work if you die. If you live, you're screwed. So you need to be saving, dude. So you got to do that other part too. And how you going to do that? Well, you got to do this get out of debt part so you've got some money to save. Because when all the money's going out in debt payments, you can't put money in the 401k. Broke people don't do the enrollment. Have you noticed? And here's another point. 70%, we said this earlier, living paycheck to paycheck. They're looking cool. So that's why you can enroll all you want until you have something where you're teaching them how to get out of debt, get on a budget. They're not going to enroll because broke people don't do that. They can't do it. They're not going to sign up for the 401k and not be able to pay their car payment. They can do the basic math. They know things are already tight. We got to get them out of debt so they got the money to do the stuff that you do to get them out so they can go win. So help them lay a solid foundation. I mean, you don't understand. Your group is one of the groups, this industry, your category is one of the categories that brought the fact that smoking will kill you to the forefront because we started realizing what it was doing to our health insurance plans, among other things. And, the cigarette is a dumb plan. That was brought to the forefront by people like you all across America. I don't know if you realize that or not, but you can take credit for it. And I'll just tell you, the credit card is the cigarette of the financial world. It's dying a slow death already. It's going to, in the next decade, become politically incorrect as much as smoking has become. Because I meet millionaires everywhere, and I've never met one that says, Dave, I made all my money with my Discover points. My airline miles, that's what put me over the top financially, Dave. That was my breakthrough. I've never met one. But I've met millions and millions of families over 20 years of doing this that are broken by credit card companies that are completely out of control. We see them all over the news. Even Congress woke up and tried that. It was a bit of a joke, but they gave it a shot. Everybody's realized these companies are misbehaving. They're out of control. And so the debit card has now passed the credit card in transactions. It passed the check in transactions 4 years ago. The debit card has come to the forefront. And so, in other words, as people become educated about this idea as a dumb idea, they start to unfold it and they start to walk away from it. So put the cookies on the bottom shelf, help them attach the benefits to their heart, and help them lay a solid foundation. When you do this, you're loving your people well, and when you do that, you add a competitive advantage to the marketplace. You know how hard it is for us to get the top people from anywhere in the nation to join our team? When our team is renowned for paying well, for loving our people well, and for having a culture that's incredible, we get the best of the best. We don't even have to interview the jerks. We just bring in the best. And then my HR guys are the heroes. My benefits people are the heroes at that point. Tom Garman, our buddy, did a study of our financial peace at work. It was taught at McLeod Health Services. And when they went through and taught the series there to teach people to get out of debt, and taught them then when they're out of debt, here, get your emergency fund in place. Here, then you can do this. Then you can go over here and you can actually invest in your 401k. Their 401k enrollments went through the roof 6 months after they taught it. Not immediately, because they had to go clean up their mess at home. They had to go home and amputate the Tahoe. But then the 401ks thing, and then Tom did an ROI study for us, and we got a $6.59 return for every dollar spent. That's real stuff. In other words, it turns out when you love your people well, there's a payoff. That's how it works. So my challenge is for you to do that. Use the heart in this process. Because what you do really, really, really is important. I know you're heroes, but I want you to go back into your organization and be that hero. Become a hero. Be the person that signed that person up, and you meet Jim 30 years later and he goes, thank you. I'm retired with dignity because of you, because you sat down and looked me in the eyes and said, this mattered, because you cared enough to guide me and love me well. Thank you for making sure I got this signed up, and then my family was taken care of when X or Y happened. Thank you. Be the hero. Be the hero to those people, and then you become the hero to the organization. You can't help but do that. That's the way we treat them around our place. We look for heroes, and heroes around our place are people who love people well. I'm honored to be with you guys. Thank you so much for your attention.
So much to Dave Ramsey. The book signing for Total Money Makeover and the 3 R's of benefits will take place just outside until 6 o'clock, and then we'll open the exhibit of festivities. I'll see you in the book signing thing.
Yeah.